Our problem is negative 5 and 62 hundredths plus negative 12 and 9 tenths. To set up this problem, we need to line it up like this and add zeros as our placeholders. Then we add 2 plus 0 is 2, 6 plus 9 is 15, 1 plus 5 plus 2 is 8, and 0 plus 1 is 1. We add our decimal. And don't forget to take the common sign. That means our answer is negative 18 and 52 hundredths. Our problem is 5 and 39 hundredths minus 2 and 6 tenths. To set up the problem, we would line up the numbers and the decimals and add 0 as our placeholder. 9 minus 0 is 9. Since you can't subtract 6 from 3, we need to take from the 5, which makes 3 13. Minus 6 is 7, add our decimal. And then 4 minus 2 is 2. That makes our answer 2 and 79 hundredths. Our problem is 4 and 2 hundredths times 7 tenths. We need to set up our problem like this, and we no longer need to worry about lining up the decimals. Then we multiply. So 2 times 7 is 14. 7 times 0 is 0, but add the 1. And 7 times 4 is 28. Then 0 times anything always equals 0. Then you add. 4 plus 0 is 4. 1 plus 0 is 1. 8 plus 0 is 8. And 2 plus 0 is 2. Then we take our decimal places, and since we have 2 decimal places, we add those together. And then that's how many spaces we move our decimal over. So our answer is 28 and 14 hundredths. Our problem is 1 and 6 hundredths divided by 2 tenths. So we set up our problem like this, except we want the divisor to be a whole number, so we move this decimal over, and what we do to the divisor, we want to do to the dividend. So since we moved that one place over, we need to move this one place over. Then we can divide. So 2 goes into 10 5 times, which is pretty easy, and that equals 10. 10 minus 10 is 0. And since 2 can't go into 0, we bring the 6 down, and 2 goes into 6 3 times. And 3 times 2 is 6, and we subtract, and that's how we know that 5.3 is our answer. We just need to make sure to move this decimal up to here. This is our problem. We need to find K. So we rewrite the problem below. Then we need to figure out what the opposite of addition is, which is subtraction. So we write minus 3 and 91 hundredths on each side of the equal sign. Since addition and subtraction are opposites, that cancels out, and we need to do this problem over here. So since we can't do 0 minus 1, we need to borrow from the 8. And 10 minus 1 is 9. 9 minus 9 is 0. Bring down your decimal. And 7 minus 3 is 4. And bring the 2 down also. And that is your answer. K equals 24 and 9 hundredths. This is our problem. we need to find what y equals. So we need to rewrite the problem below, like I have done here. Multiplication is shown on the left side of the equal sign. So we need to figure out that the opposite of multiplication is division. So we write divided by 1 2/10 on both sides of the equal sign. And since multiplication and division are opposites, this cancels out. And we need to do this problem over here, which is negative 1 44/100 divided by 1 2/10. So we write our division problem like this. And remember, we want our divisor to be a whole number, so we move this decimal over. And we got to make sure to do the same thing to the dividend. Then we solve. So we know that 12 goes into 14 once, and 14 minus 12 is 2. But since 12 can't go into 2, we bring the 4 down, and we know that 12 goes into 42 twice, so that equals 24, and 24 minus 24 is 0. And don't forget to bring your decimal up. And also, don't forget to add the negative in front of 1 2/10, because we know that a positive number times a negative number equals a negative number. So that makes y equal to negative 1 2/10. This is our problem. We need to figure out what n is equal to. So we need to start off by writing the problem below. So we need to figure out what the opposite of division is, which is shown on the left side of the equal sign. And the opposite of division is multiplication, so we need to multiply 8.2 on both sides of the equal sign. Since multiplication and division are opposites, this cancels out, and we need to multiply negative 0 6/10 times 8 2/10. So we write our multiplication problem and solve. So 6 times 2 is 12, 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. Then below that, we need to add 0 as our placeholder and start multiplying the other number. So 8 times 6 is 48, 8 times 0 is 0, plus 4 is 4. And then we add 2 plus 0 is 2, 1 plus 8 is 9, and 4 plus 0 is 4. And don't forget to bring your decimal down. And also, don't forget to add your negative, because in multiplication, a negative number times a positive number equals a negative number. So that is our answer. This is our problem, and we need to figure out what W represents. So we rewrite the problem below. And the first thing we need to figure out is what the opposite of subtraction is, which is shown on the left side of the equal sign. And since the opposite of subtraction is addition, we need to add 5 8/10 on both sides of the equal sign. And because subtraction and addition are opposites, this cancels out, and we need to add this together. So 2 plus 8 is 10, and 1 plus 1 plus 5 is 7. And bring your decimal down. So W would equal 7. This is our problem. We need to add 6/15 plus 3/15. Since we already have a common denominator, all we need to do is add the numerators and keep the denominator the same. So 6 plus 3 is 9, but now we need to simplify 9/15. We know that we can divide both 9 and 15 by 3. So 9 divided by 3 is 3, and 15 divided by 3 is 5, and 3/5 is our answer. To subtract 1/2 from 21/24, we need to find a common denominator. Since 2 can go into 24, they should both have a common denominator of 24. So 1/2 turns into 12/24, and 21/24 just stays the same. Now we can subtract. So 21 minus 12 equals 9, and we keep the 24 the same. Now we need to simplify. Both numbers can be divided by 3. So our answer would be 3/8. Our problem is 1/4 times -2/3. So we write the problem out again. And that's equal to 1 times 2 over 4 times 3. To make this easier, we need to cross multiply. We can cross 4 and 2 because 2 goes into 4 and it goes into it twice. So that makes our problem 1 times 1 over 2 times 3. So we're just going to move that over there and solve this problem. So 1 times 1 is 1 over 2 times 3, which is 6. And since we can't simplify it, that is our answer. Three-fourths divided by 6/7 is our problem. I'm going to show you the keep, change, flop method, where you keep the first fraction the same, change the division sign to a multiplication sign, and flop the last fraction around to its reciprocal, which pretty much means changing 6/7 to 7/6. So now all we have to do is multiply 3 times 7 and 4 times 6. Since 3 can go into 6, we make this a 1 and this a 2 because 3 goes into 6 2 times. So 1 times 7 is 7 and 4 times 2 is 8. Since that can't be simplified, 7/8 is our answer. To find out what m equals, we need to add 1/6 on both sides of the equal sign because plus is the opposite of minus. Since this cancels out, we need to add 5/6 plus 1/6. And that equals 6 over 6, which is simplified to 1. To find n, we need to add 1/5 on both sides of the equal sign. Since this cancels out, all we need to do is add 3/5 and 1/5. And that is equal to 4/5, and that can't be reduced, so that is our answer. To find x, we need to multiply the reciprocal of 1/5 on both sides of the equal sign. Since this cancels out, we need to multiply 4 times 5 over 1. So we make 4 a fraction and multiply 5 over 1. That gives us an answer of 20 over 1, which simplifies to 20. To figure out what y is, we need to isolate the variable on one side of the equal sign. To do that, we must do on one side of the equal sign what we have done to the other. So if we are multiplying the reciprocal of 6 over 1 on both sides, we would be multiplying 1/6 on both sides of the equal sign. Since this cancels out, we need to multiply 1/2 times 1/6, which is equal to 1 times 1 over 2 times 6. And that gives us an answer of 1/12, which can't be simplified, so 1/12 is our answer.